안녕하세요. I am David Yum and I go to Westlake High School.
네, 데이빗의 꿈 어떤 거예요?
My dream, I think I have many dreams, but if I had to pick one that I've had since I was very young, I think acting would have to be my dream.
액팅을 하고 싶다고 했는데 혹시 액팅을 하고 싶다고 하는데 좋아하는 무비 있거나 배우가 있나요?
Absolutely. I think when we think of films and movies, there's so many to pick from and there's so many historically beautiful movies that we take into our hearts, but I think my favorite American movies would have to be The Great Gatsby. Leonardo DiCaprio, any movie that he's in is absolutely incredible, and Whiplash. Whiplash is a wonderful movie. It's a very passionate and very strong movie that took into my heart as well. And when it comes into Korean films or Korean shows, my favorites would have to be, the first one would be Bloodhounds. It's a new one that came out recently with Woo Do-hwan. He's a wonderful actor as well. But I think the Korean film that left the most impact on me was Mr. Sunshine. And I just watched it recently and I was absolutely moved and touched. And Lee Byung-hun, he's absolutely my favorite actor now. He's someone I look up to when it comes to that realm of acting. And I absolutely love the story that Mr. Sunshine tells and how they tell it. I think the casting for each character was absolutely perfect, and those are probably the films that I love the most.
우리 좀 다른 친구들과 좀 다른 꿈을 가지고 있어서 너무 기대가 되는데 그러면 그 꿈을 이루기 위해서 온 과정 중에 고등학교 때 혹시 그와 연관되었던 게 있나요?
When it comes to my three favorite memories from school, I would have to say that the Disney show that I was a part of, The Quest on Disney Plus, that was probably the most memorable that I was a part of in high school. And the second would have to be the nonprofit organization that I started, Dreaming Together. And the third would have to be the positions that I've taken within high school and my county and my state to help my community. I think those would probably be the three most important things I've done. So The Quest was a Disney Plus show, and it was a hybrid between competition, reality, and scripted. So we worked with scripted actors, but most of what we did was pure improv and on the spot. We had some scripted lines here and there, but majority of it was us just being in the moment. And it was 8 teenagers, and we were destined, and we were chosen by the fates of this world to help fight against the forces of darkness for them. So I learned, from that show I learned many things, but I think the number one thing I learned was bravery. We're going on set and we're working many hours a day, and there are big cameras coming in at you from very large cranes coming in and out, and 50 or maybe 100 people are behind the cameras watching you, and you feel like many eyes watching you, feel a lot of pressure. So I think that bravery aspect came into it, being brave enough to say your lines correctly or come up with your lines on the spot and be surrounded by professional actors and professional producers. It was definitely very nerve-wracking, but the bravery aspect came into it. So I think it taught me a lot about bravery and creativity as well. You know, making our lines on the spot and not having a specific script to learn from was challenging, and it was very on the spot. So you had to say something that was good and that was fun enough for the producers not to say cut. If you said something good enough, if they didn't say cut, it was good to go. You were good to go. So I think learning those things on the spot and being creative enough to remember you're in a fantasy world that is full of magic and magical creatures and kings and queens. I think being creative enough to make those lines on the spot and engage each other was a very fun and important thing for me to learn.
Dream Together에 대해서 좀 소개해 주실까요?
So Dreaming Together is a nonprofit organization that I started back in 2022, and it's dedicated to teaching impoverished foreign students the English language. So we're teaching English to students from all over the world, from 5 different countries, soon to be 7, and with over 9 branches right now. And we're basically providing them a free resource to help benefit their future. Learning the English language can open many doors, and we're hoping that we can be the start to that for these students. And we do weekly classes with these students virtually online through Zoom or through Google Meet. So any way that we can connect with these students in a way that's accessible to them. And this originally started with just me and my brother. We were going to do it just the two of us to, do our part to help people. But the Korean American Association actually picked up on what we were doing, and 회장님, she actually helped us a lot. She helped us branch out and open up. So we're very thankful to her as well. And so now we work with many mentors and mentees, and it's accessible to anyone and everyone to learn the English language. And hopefully we can branch out to different languages, English, Korean, Spanish, and more. So hopefully we get to do that as well. And we've gotten to the point where we feel as if we're making such a big and memorable change that we're actually currently working with a current branch in Korea with students and teenagers that escaped from North Korea and are now living in Korea, and we are working with them and teaching them English. And that's such a beautiful and absolutely monumental thing for us. And to work with them is not only a pleasure, but it's an honor to teach and help them. So currently we're working with 40 mentors, around that number, and around 65 mentees, so students that we're teaching. So when it comes to my third most memorable high school experience, I think it would have to be the volunteering. And working with many influential societal and political figures, it taught me a lot. I've gotten the pleasure to campaign for current governor of Maryland, Wes Moore, the Secretary of State of St. Mary's County, Jamie Sterling, current Secretary of State, Susan Lee, Lieutenant Governor Runa Miller, Montgomery County Council Member Lorianne Sales. Being able to learn from them personally are things and lessons that I've taken back with me to the school positions that I'm currently in now. I serve as my school's liaison, which is the student representative for that school. I've run for the student member of the board for Charles County. There's so many. I'm the chief of staff for the student member of the board. I work with the superintendent and the sheriff of the county as the youth advisory council member for my school, and as well as my principal's youth advisory council. And I think all the lessons I've learned from these societal and political figures that have a lot of power, I've taken back their lessons and how to implement change effectively into the school system. And everything I do is to fight for equality, racial justice, and against negative things that harm our community. So I think learning these things are things I hold into my heart, and hopefully I get to utilize them more in the future.
봉사를 하면서 많이 새로운 것들 느끼고 또 한인2세에서 느꼈던 점 있죠? 어떤 것들이 있나요?
I think growing up in a community where you're the only Korean person, you don't realize until people treat you differently. When you're growing up, all you care about is fun memories and spending time with your family and friends. But when I started going to school, I noticed that I was different because people would treat me different. And I didn't look like the other kids that I would hang around. And so they started treating me differently. They started excluding me out of activities. They started kind of pushing me away because I wasn't like them. I wasn't one of them. And that left a toll on me. And I think experiencing those aspects of life where I was treated like an outsider, like an outcast because of the color of my skin and because I didn't look like them, I was treated very poorly. But I knew that I had to fight for my right. I had to fight for myself. And so when I started fighting for these positions of power and these positions of equality and racial justice, I think that I started to gain a position where people knew who I was. And even though they knew I was different, they knew that I was someone who was fighting for them and for myself, and I was someone that had a voice. And I think that gave me a lot of power in a way that I was a pillar of the community. I became someone that you could come to when you needed help, and I became someone that would fight for the minority, for the small percentage. And I think that's my entire message, is we need to be equal in all things that we do, and I think that that's exactly what I was fighting for. And so overcoming that obstacle in my life was a huge thing for me.
한인2세라는 장점은 있다면 어떤 게 있을까요?
So as a minority, we face incredible hardship. Our life is not as easy as people may think. We definitely go through so much hardship and so much struggle, but I believe that being a minority and being Korean is a gift. I believe that it's my Korean heart and my Korean parents that instilled in me that virtue of hard work and courage and passion. And I think because I'm a Korean American, I've been open to so many experiences and opportunities that most kids wouldn't even think about being a part of or even imagine experiencing. And so I think I'm very thankful to be Korean. I'm very thankful to my parents and organizations like the Korean American Association. They've opened up many doors for me to experience the things that a minority may never be able to experience. And so I think that us as Korean Americans, us as minorities, us as children and teenagers and even adults, I think we need to embrace the aspects of our life that surround courage and strength and passion as we do. And I think that meeting these political, these societal figures is something that a young me could never even have imagined. Someone who came through a lot of hardship for being a minority, I think I wouldn't even have imagined these things, but to be a part of them is an experience I'm incredibly grateful for. And I think that I hope that the people watching this, the teenagers, the people in my position, minorities like me, I hope that they can watch this and see, wow, if he can do it, I can definitely do it. And I think I want to open that door and I want to say, hey, I can do it, I've done it, and hopefully I can do more, and I know that if I can do it, you can definitely do it. So I hope that people watch this and feel inspired. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe and turn on post notifications so you know the next time that 만나24TV posts.